like we're a first timer, right? We've got no other projects to our name. And this is it. Okay. Kickstarter doesn't know me or Drake from a bar of soap. Okay? We have no communication with anybody in Kickstarter whatsoever. Like nothing. Nada. We are raw, new to the platform.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they
And
sent us down the projects we love,
yeah.
like that was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Drake was in our chat going like, "Did you see? You've got projects you love." Because he got it during the American Day when I was asleep, and I was like,
Right,
and I was
right.
like, "Oh my
I got it
God, we've got
first.
projects we love."
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, like I say, like we they don't know us or anything. So it is perfectly possible for a first-time Kickstarter to get onto projects we love. It is 100% possible to get that 48-hour backing. To all of that stuff is possible. But it takes an enormous investment, not in money, but in time. Okay. I lived and breathed that Kickstarter for the month before and the month during.
Releasing your inner dragon.
So we have just, well, me, but through Starving Writer Studio, have launched a successful publishing Kickstarter. Now, I grant you that it was for a non-fiction book, but I think that a lot of what we learned will carry over to the next Kickstarter, which will be, which will include fiction books and so on. So I thought that you and our audience and all these people who potentially are looking at self-publishing and so on would like to know how I use crowdfunding to successfully launch the book and its platform, and talk about what
Yeah.
I would do again, what I would do more of, and what I will never, ever freaking do in my life again.
Yeah. And I've done what, 4 Kickstarters. So yeah, and we've got a really aggressive Kickstarter schedule from here on out.
Yeah.
So about every 3 to 4 months we're doing a Kickstarter. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to Kickstarter. There's a lot of misnomers, there's a lot of misunderstandings, and it's a lot more work than people
Yeah.
expect. I would like to start off by dispelling the biggest myth of Kickstarter. Most people who've never done a Kickstarter think, oh, I've got a product. I'm going to throw it up on Kickstarter, and that's how I'm going to find customers. Kickstarter is going to deliver me the audience. That is not how this works. Kickstarter is going to bring in about 10% of your sales, and it's going to cost you about 10% of your sales to be on Kickstarter.
So Kickstarter will bring you in about 30%, in my experience.
I'm not talking about what you advertise and send to Kickstarter, where
No,
you
no,
don't
no,
know
no, no.
about it.
No, I mean Kickstarter itself brought in about 30%.
So that maybe because you also
But
got pimped by them.
only after we hit projects we love, fully funded in 48
Right.
hours,
That's what I'm
etc.,
saying.
etc., etc.
You got really lucky that Kickstarter picked you up. There's no way to do that on purpose. Like that is a thing that Kickstarter has to do on their own. So you got the
The
extra.
more I work, the luckier
Certainly,
I get.
true that. But I don't think you can expect that every time. So yes, if you do some things and you get on the projects we like by Kickstarter and all those different things where they're actively promoting you, then yes, you will get that. But I don't think you can sit down and have a part of your plan, I'm going to be on the Kickstarter projects we like thing.
But you can plan to be on the projects we love Kickstarter portion by doing the Kickstarter right.
Yes,
Right.
100%.
And then Kickstarter really will work for you, because it really does.
Yes,
Like
then it will.
I got 30% sales from
Yeah.
Kickstarter itself.
Yes.
The biggest bulk of my sales came obviously from the platform that I've spent 4 years building, which is my YouTube world building channel. So that is 4 years worth of work paying off. Just, I mean, let's be honest and fair upfront. And that was probably a solid 50%. But that still means that there are 50% of people who have never heard my name who have now bought a book from me. And that's pretty cool. Okay. So where do you want me to where do you want me to dive in here with like how to do this? Should we start with like where a Kickstarter actually starts?
I mean, should we take a step back from that and just kind of talk about what Kickstarter actually is
Sure.
for those that might not know exactly what it is? I don't think we should spend a lot of time on here because most people who are going to watch this are going to know.
Yeah.
But I think we should at least just define it.
Okay. So Kickstarter is a crowdfunding platform, which is to say that people who have the concept of a product or a completed product or whatever, advertise on there. They say what the amount of money is that they need in order to bring this product to life, and then they attempt to get backers. If they meet their funding threshold, then that money is taken from their backers and given to them, and they then go off and make the product and send the backers whatever rewards they've promised as part of the Kickstarter.
And it is an all or nothing. Like
Yeah.
if you say I want $10,000 to do this project and you raise $9,990, you get nothing.
Yeah. And your project fails. So boom.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what Kickstarter is. Okay. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I think people make, and one of the mistakes that I made when I first did this on Indiegogo, which is also a crowdfunding platform, is people think that your campaign starts when you press launch.
Yep.
This is false. This is incorrect and a lie. Your campaign starts at least a month before you press launch with your preview page. Okay? And your preview page needs to be attractive. It needs to immediately sell your product, and it needs to convince people to click on a little button called Notify Me, so that when you press launch, those people are notified. Because the way to make the Kickstarter algorithm work for you is to be fully funded in the first 48 hours. The faster you get funded, the better, but within the first 48 hours is the part you really want to hit. Because at that point,
I want to push that because you said at least 30 days. What she's really saying is 6 weeks is better. 8
Yes.
weeks is better. I've seen some things go a year. That seems weird to me to
That's a
say,
little
hey,
long for
follow
me.
me for a year. But I've actually seen a few that'll run ads for an entire year, getting
Yeah.
people to follow them. They weren't anything that I followed, so I don't know how successful they were. I should probably go look that up. But I have seen them go out for as long as a year. But I would say 6 to 12 weeks. A month
Yeah.
and a half to 3 months is probably the sweet spot for gathering people to follow your project.
So I'm just going to briefly share my screen. This was my Notify Me screen. Yeah, this was the image that I built for my Notify Me screen. Now, I made it in the specific size width so that it also displayed readably on a mobile, because you have to think of mobile devices in this day and age. And basically, what I tried to do here, and it was such tight wording, okay, but what I tried to do is immediately set up what the premise is of what I'm selling. Build better worlds. Big, bold title at the top. Then I'm telling you you're creating a fantasy setting. It's a hands-on book. There's 50 plus templates. It's got step-by-step exercises, easy to use frameworks. Who is it meant for? It's meant for authors, GMs, and fantasy creators. It's inspired by real-world sociology and anthropology. It's designed to save time and spark ideas. So those are all the promises of the book and who it's intended for. Then who made it and why this person has the authority to write such a book. So author of 4 epic fantasy novels, host of just-in-time world building that's got over 1 million views, and a GM and LARP runner with over 20 years experience. Okay, so that's why. And then big and bold and important, what they should do. They must click Notify Me and unleash the world your story deserves. And then the date of the launch. Okay. So yes, the image matters, but the wording, you've got to you've only got somebody's eyeballs for a very small amount of time at this point. Remember, I ran ads on Instagram. Okay. This page was landed on by people who don't know me from Eve. They've never met me, never seen a video from me in my life, have not read my book, right? I have their attention for a second because of an image that they saw on Instagram or on Facebook. So this thing needs to pack immediate punch and
Mm.
build on the promise of the ad that they clicked on to get them to click on notify me.
Mhm.
And what you
There's
want to reach is you want to reach a minimum of around 300 people waiting on notify me. I'll explain a little bit more later about your exact calculations, but if you don't have that, you're not ready to launch.
yeah. Yeah. And technically what you really want, the math would be more like you need 350% to 400% of what you need to fund in
Yes.
the notify me. That's
Yeah.
really what you're looking for. So if your product sells for $1 and you want $1,000, then you need 3,500 to 4,000 people, because that gives you that 350 to 400%. So it goes on there.
Yes, yes and no. So okay. So let me explain the math of Kickstarter. Okay. So you want in the first 48 hours, you will make 1/3 of the money you're going to make in the Kickstarter. In the next 26 days, you'll make the second third. And in the last 2 days, you'll make the last third. Okay. I promise you, every Kickstarter person I've spoken to has said it was this, and that was exactly my own experience. Like exactly my own experience. And then if you can leave it open for late pledges, like we have made, I guess, another $1,000 nearly in late
Yeah.
pledges.
Yeah.
So
Somewhere around in there.
yeah, so it's nice to be able to leave it open for a little bit afterwards so people can still
Mhm.
pledge. Okay, so what you want waiting is at least enough people that if they pay kind of the average of the pledges, that you are going to hit at least 1/3 of what you need. Because if you don't hit that, your Kickstarter will not be successful. And
Right.
if you haven't hit that amount in the first 48 hours, pull the Kickstarter.
Yeah. You
Okay?
may want to think about
Say,
pulling that Kickstarter.
yeah, don't even try. Just go like, we will take the learnings from this. We haven't made our target, blah, blah, blah. We will take the learnings from this
Yeah.
and we will be back to relaunch this,
And
and then
yes.
go away
So
and think about what didn't work.
So 100%, the minimum would be 1/3. But
Yeah.
if you want to actually get it to the point where you're much more
Mm.
capable of getting on some of these other lists, the reason why I said 350 to 400% of your
Yeah.
funding goal is because then about 1/3 of those people that follow you are going to buy.
Mm.
So if you go, if you need 100 people to meet 33% of your funding goal, then you'd want 350, 400 people, because
Yeah.
then you're guaranteed to get that third. But what you really want is to fund. You want to
Yes.
fund in the first
You want
48
to
hours.
fully fund in those 48 hours.
So that's why I say 350 to 400% of your funding goal,
Yeah.
because if you can get that, then the chances of you funding in the first 48 hours is really good.
Yes.
So that's why I was pushing that. There's two things I do want to add to this.
Yeah.
You didn't do it. It is stuff that I'm planning on doing. I think we're talking about planning on it with yours too, but there's two extra levels to this early follow us page. One that works really well is follow us and you'll get this thing for free.
Mm.
Like, getting them to get on that bandwagon is something vitally important. So anything you can do to entice them to click that follow us button. Now there's two ways to look at it. Like, one of the things that I'm doing with not this next Kickstarter I'm doing, but with the one after that, is follow us and actually get a piece of the product for free right now. Right now. You don't have to back it. We're just going to give it to you for free. So that's one thing. But the other thing is an enticement of, like, I just backed something and I did the follow me last month, and it was, if you follow me and you back me, you'll get this free collector's coin with your pledge. Now you have to back, but you got this free coin that you wouldn't get except for early followers, that it was a special thing. And it does need to be something that's special. So that's one level. So either something free extra if you pledge, or something free that you don't do anything. You just get something free. Anything like that is going to help entice that follow me. Now, when you go further than that, when you actually get to the point where you're running Kickstarters successfully and you've got that, because what you do is you build a fan base of it and they start following you. And the next level of that is to do the non-refundable upfront money. From $1 to $5 is what I've seen. It's something that they know these people are gonna to kickstart. But like I just kickstarted another thing this month that was, if you pay $5 up front, that's non-refundable. So if you don't buy anything, you just lose your $5. And you buy something, I'm going to give you this free thing with your pledge that is only available for those that gave us this $5 up front. Plus you get $5 off of your pledge. So it costs you nothing to do it, but you do have to pledge. And I'm willing to bet you're probably at around an 80% pledge rate when you've had them put in the $5. The problem is I would never do that until you have your audience on Kickstarter, because you're gonna have a lot of people that do not click the button because they're not going to give you $5. They don't know you, they don't trust you. So I would definitely only do that when you have the audience. I would do the first, which is what I'm doing with everything, is the free, either something free extra with the Kickstarter that you wouldn't have gotten if you hadn't have, followed us, or just something free right now just to follow us.
Yeah, you have to build, like with every platform, you have to build reputation, and you can only do that by launching successful Kickstarters. You've got to build reputation, you've got to build your brand, you've got to build your audience, blah, blah, blah. But first, I want to back up slightly away from okay, people are clicking the notify, and I want to just talk about how you get people to the notify page at all, okay? So I ran paid, obviously. Okay, so there's a couple. The first, your organic advertising. That is you just posting on Facebook or you talking. I think that one of the most important lessons that I walk away from this with is repetition, 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 repetition. I assumed that I should only talk about it once or twice, on my videos. This is an incorrect assumption. Say it every time you post during the run-up and while the Kickstarter is open. Hammer the message home. You have to repeat, repeat, repeat. Remember, people forget that they heard about it. People need a reminder. You are living this moment. To you, it's a constant repetition. But to your audience, they've heard you speak about it last week and maybe the week before. They don't necessarily know about it now, right? So that, like, repeat, repeat, repeat. The second thing is a countdown to your actual launch day with images. Every day you post something, and a countdown to your closing. Those are both very, very important. Plan for those two countdowns. And then if you do paid advertising, now only do this if you have the budget for it. Obviously, then you don't have to do it. You can do it without paid advertising. Do not advertise on Google Words. It is horrifyingly expensive, and I got almost no return on that investment. Do not pay to have a video made unless you can shell out real money for it. I paid $600 for it, and it was a waste of freaking money.
I was looking at a company yesterday.
Yeah.
$10,000.
Yeah.
Now, the videos that they make are off the charts, but the videos that they make are for companies that are running Kickstarters that are all making $300, $500, $1 million. And so $10,000 is not as, but even then, I don't know. If I was making $1 million on my Kickstarter, I wouldn't spend 10 grand on a video that's going to be used for 1 month I just wouldn't. It's insane to me. But
regardless, I wouldn't waste any money on making a video, because I got very little return on investment from that video. I will tell you where I got
you have to have a video.
Oh yeah, I'll get to that when I talk about the
Okay.
Kickstarter itself.
Right.
Okay, what I'm talking about now is the pre-advertising. I will tell you where I got an enormous return on my investment. Okay, was in self-made Instagram ads. Okay? And they are so easy to make. Okay? You get Canva open, plain old. You don't even need to know anything about design. right? You just open Canva, you make some mock-up pages of your content, and you make some nice arrangements. So I'm gonna share my screen again, and I will show you some of examples of my Canva ads, my little Kickstarter ads.
And when you're advertising on these platforms like Instagram, Facebook, you do get information. You get the
Yeah.
information on which ads are bringing in clicks, which people are clicking through, so on and so forth. So you want to track this information. Social media marketing is very time consuming, but it is very worth it if you run it correctly.
Yeah. So this is just this. I mean, I made all of this in Canva. I made all of this myself. Yeah, I'm not a designer. Okay. And so this is just like 2 pages from the book to show like this is the exercise and here's the worksheet. This one brought in 8 backers and ended up bringing in for me nearly $600 because one of them was a big spender. Then here you can see the project we love and the fully funded, like nice and prominent, and then just pages. Pages with nice images that show immediately kind of what, here's a table of contents, there's an exercise, there's a framework. And then here we've got just the book cover and the kind of projects we love. And so you just make these, you can just make these yourself. And then Instagram and Facebook advertising is actually reasonably cheap. Okay. In the end, over the lifespan of the Kickstarter, I laid out $1,000 and I got back in spend on the Kickstarter 5. So I got a return of 4 to 1 on my advertising spend on Instagram and Facebook. So that is where I would say spend your money. Like
I
that
agree.
was the
Instagram
most
especially is
successful.
really good at
Yeah.
Kickstarters. A
Yeah.
lot of people are getting very used to the Kickstarter ads. My feeds are full of and I do back 2 to more than I'm willing to admit Kickstarters a month.
Yeah, but it is also like you do want to make it attractive. So you do want to, you do want to spend a little bit of time on Canva, check out how other people are doing it and so on, and make it attractive and so on. But you can do them yourself. You can set up the ads yourself. It's easy to set up the ads. It's not like Google Words. I had to pay somebody to set up the freaking ads, right? Because it is hard. But Instagram and Facebook, they were simple. Just like set up the audience you want and off it goes. And the mistake I made with Facebook and Instagram is I took my foot off the gas after that first month because I'd gotten a whole bunch of people from Facebook and Instagram. And I was like, okay, this is awesome. I'm now in the thing, so I can now take my foot off the gas there. And I lost steam.
Yeah.
On you want to keep that advertising going through the notify period into the actual Kickstarter as well.
All the way up to the last day.
Yeah.
And actually, since you really should do late pledges for at least a month or so, you really want to run it. You want to keep running it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
plan for that. Plan on a budget that
yeah.
you're going to spend this much money every month from when we launch the follow me page all the way through till however long after the Kickstarter closes that you're going to leave open for the late pledges. Plan on dividing that out.
And Facebook and Instagram are cool in this respect. You can tell it, I have this budget for this campaign. I have this much budget, and it will spend that much budget. So you're not going to sit with a surprise at the end of the campaign where it's like, well, actually you owe us $10,000, some such thing. So yeah, look, the advertising, I know the advertising money is hard to find. So I'm not going to tell you have to spend that money. Not at all. Okay. I'm just telling you, like, if you do have the money to spend on advertising, the place where I found bang for my buck is on Instagram and Facebook. And I wish I had not spent money on a video, and I really wish I had not spent money on Google Words, because those two could both have been sunk way better into Instagram. So that's my advice to you.
And I'm gonna go a different direction with that. Doing a successful Kickstarter is all about planning about a year in advance. You start what you're going to do about a year in advance. A part of that is, okay, I'm going to advertise for 4 months, I'm going to spend $800 a month on advertising. I want to spend $800, or let's just make the math easy because I suck at math. I want to spend $500 a month on marketing. I'm going to need $2,000 for marketing. So last year, you start putting $100 away.
Yeah.
I disagree with you don't have to market. Like, marketing is marketing for a reason. If you don't market, your chances of success are drastically hindered. So since we're going to plan this out a year in advance, since we're going to think about this stuff, you should think about the budget of marketing. You should go, I want to spend $2,000. I'm going to put up $200 a month away. I'm going to put this is my Kickstarter advertising money. I'm going to keep putting that away every single month, or $300 or whatever you need to do. Like, do it.
And remember that if your Kickstarter is successful, you will make that money back.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, this is not money that you're, like, and unless your Kickstarter fails, like, this is not money you're throwing away. This is basically your skin in the game. Okay. So that's the one. That's the Notify Me page and the advertising leading up to it. Now let's talk about your actual Kickstarter setup. And for this, I think I'm just going to actually go to Kickstarter and share my page and talk through it. Because I think that might be the best way of discussing this. Share. Okay. So first, this is your banner. Okay, your banner has to be attractive. The reason why I've got the little like pages pull out is because it's got like the little exercise there. It's got a nice little image. It shows you something of what the book layout is like. And then you've got the cover of the book. You get everything in an immediate shot. Okay. And this layout really works for books specifically. So I think it would probably even work for a fiction. Although there you might want to have like a piece of character art or something. I'm not entirely sure, but you definitely want a cover on there. So you're going to have a cover to start with, even if it's not your final cover. Like, this isn't my absolutely final cover, but you have to have a cover on here. Then you can see there's a big play button. That is my Kickstarter video. You're going to need one of these where you talk about why this Kickstarter is important, what it offers, who's it for, why you are equipped to do this. Basically, all of those selling points that I had on the Notify Me project, you have here again in the video. Then we come to the actual page. Okay. You want the page to stand out. Okay. So I created these as images, right? Again, they are built for mobile too, but they make it stand out more than just text. Okay. And then every picture, every heading is linked to the things on the side here so people can easily navigate. And the first thing people are going to read is probably this thing. Okay. And so this has to be enough to hook them. The first thing they read has to be enough to hook them. And it's got to have a nice call to action and why this thing is going to work for them and so on. Then you'll see that in some places, I did in fact have text as well as images. And that's because, like here, I wanted the image of the actual contents of the book. And that worked better to have text here. Okay. The other reason why I had text, all my headers are the same, right? Just for consistency. But the other reason why I had text is because text gives you search optimization. So Google starts searching and indexing your project. Okay. So you need some text that is not in images. And secondly, it allows you to create links. Right. Then what I also did was I created this Hazine thing, which flips through, and that's what this thing does, is it flips through the contents of the book. Okay. Not all the contents, obviously, but all the sample pages. See, so it actually just flips through the contents of the book and gives people like an idea of what's going on each page.
Yep.
And then from there, we go into like, how does this book do that? Like, you've got to explain these things. You've got to say, like, how does the book How is the book really going to help people? Remember, you're doing a selling job here. How is your product going to help people? And then you have to be very clear on what they're getting. So there's a hardback version of the book. This is what the hardback looks like. Okay, this is the layout of the hardback. There's a paperback version of the book that is black and white. This is what the paperback looks like. And then you will also get this worksheet, or everybody gets this. And you'll be able to fill in all of these separately. And then, oh, here's the little flip through thingy where you can just click on it and go flip through it at your own pace. This thing, by the way, is so freaking cool. I highly recommend everybody use this because it's just, it creates a real kind of experience for the person backing it. Then talk about layout, whatever, and the text also allows you to link, obviously. Then, when will it deliver and how will it deliver? You 100% have to know how you are shipping before you launch. I thought that we would be shipping ourselves. This was dumb, okay? I advise talking to a fulfillment partner. The fulfillment partner I can recommend is Games Quest. They're who we've partnered with. They are great. They are nerds themselves. They know, they are part of the kind of the wider geek community. Their prices are very reasonable, and they basically handle all the shipping, and shipping money goes to them. They also have a warehouse where they then stock your book, and you can then sell out of that warehouse for very cheaply all of the rest of your stock. So all of that is really fantastic. So yeah, they've been a pleasure to work with. And once I'd spoken to them, I realized that I could ship to many more countries than I had initially thought. Okay. Because initially I was like USA, EU, UK, Canada, and that's it. And then they were like, no, we can also ship to New Zealand, Australia, Far East, etc., etc. So talk to a fulfillment partner upfront, get clear pricing and so on. They'll give you like a worldwide sheet, etc. It's very easy to get all of this information from them. Be clear on VAT, especially with the EU. You have to make it clear to your backers that the price they pay does not include VAT, because people in the EU assume VAT is included in the price, because we never, like, for us, it's all the price is always just the price. It always includes all the taxes already. We don't add the taxes afterwards. So you make sure that they know that, because otherwise they'll be like, wait, why am I getting VAT as well? Not that there's a lot of VAT on books. The EU is very, very low on VAT on books, but it is something to be aware of. Then the places that you don't ship to, be clear, don't ship to Central America or South America. They charge 100% tariff on books. 100%. Your backers will somehow need to pay the book all over again. So be aware. yeah. All right. Then who wrote this? Blah, blah, blah. Like, why? This was so hard for me to write. I am not this person. I cannot do this like self-advertisement thing. I really had to I rewrote this thing 3 times based on my friend Guy telling me, no, more. Why are you cool? More. All right. So once you've gotten over yourself and have written your stuff, now we come to the last important part that you have to be very, very, very clear on. Tiers, rewards, what they are, and what they cost and what they include. You want no lack of clarity here. You want right. Everybody to understand exactly what they're getting. And if you have a limited tier, like I had this architect tier, you don't lift that limitation. You don't suddenly create more of it or create more VIP or whatever, because doing so basically undercuts the people who've picked to be on this tier. So pick your limit and stick to it on that tier.
I'm gonna add a couple things to this. First of all, because I learned this with my first Kickstarter when I did Snarf Quest with Larry. I went nuts, and we had like 3,000 different tiers with this and that and this and this and that and that. And oh, let's do miniatures, and oh, let's do t-shirts, and oh, let's do coins, and oh, let's do playing cards. And like we had so many different things, and just the logistics of it, the whole 9 yards. Like I really recommend that you keep your tiers tight. They now have, which they didn't have back then, but they now have an add-on section. So you can do a lot of this stuff as add-ons. You don't need to do it here on the tiers. So think about that. Keep your tiers tight, do logical things. But I want to really kind of hound on the VIP. So what she was saying with don't lift it, limit it. So like she has hers limited to 12 and that's it. But don't not do a high level tier, some insane thing, like, oh, look, it's $30 for the book and $50 for the hardback, and it's $500 for this thing. Like, don't not do that. And because there are people out there with the dispendable income that want the extras that they can't get anywhere else. And so that's what that VIP tier needs to be. It needs to include something that just isn't available elsewhere, period. And so you may sell them, you may not sell them, you may sell out of them, doesn't matter, but you should always, like Columbia Games just did a Kickstarter on my next Harnworld book, and they were like, all right, we want to offer a tier that has all of your books, everything, your creative writing books, your fiction books, ever. I'm like, well, that's weird. Why? Like, because we need a $800 package or whatever it was, $400 package, whatever it was. Because we don't have a super expensive tier. And I was like, all right, that's silly. And they sold them. They sold out of them. I don't remember what they limited it to, but they sold every one of them. And I was like, okay, because there are people out there that just want that.
I sold 10 of these VIP tiers in the first 48 hours.
Yeah.
And I have sold out of them. They're
Yes.
all sold. And what I offered for them, I mean, you can't get this anywhere else, right? What I offered is like, you get a session with me. I will go through your world notes and I will talk to you about my thoughts on the world. So it's a coaching session, but I will also do a live stream with you on like your world and on my channel. So you get like all of that kind of advertising. So it's an experience you can't get anywhere else, basically.
Right. Yeah. And that's what you want the VIP to be.
Yeah.
And there are people out there willing to pay that extra money. What we did for Snarf Quest was, because every backer got their name in the book or whatever. But what we actually did was, and I think we only had 2 of these that we sold, and we sold both of them. But we won't pay for your flight nor your ticket at Gen Con. But if you are at Gen Con, me and Larry Elmore will take you to dinner, and you can eat dinner with us and we'll pay. And we went to a really nice steak restaurant, and they got to hang out with me. They got to hang out with Larry Elmore. They got to talk to us completely outside of the venue. Like, you can't get that kind of experience normally. And so that's what you want to look for, because there are people that want it.
Yeah. And how, and there's people who want to support you, that like I have people, when you have a base of following, you have people who want to support you that much. They are that appreciative of your content. So yeah, create a VIP tier. It will be good for you.
Yes.
And then just like, early bird rewards, very important. This is your 48-hour backer rewards. Like, what do they get for backing you in that critical 48 hours? Because that will get you over that funding heat.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's basically it. I mean, the rest of it's like stuff like funding goals, and stretch goals, stuff like that.
And understand, notice the pattern that we're doing here. It's everything in a Kickstarter is about enticing. So we're going to entice you to do the follows. We're going to entice you to pledge in the first 48 hours. We're going to entice you to pledge at a higher level if it's something that you're interested in. Like, these are things that you got to think about as you're setting up these Kickstarter campaigns, because it is selling. You are marketing and selling.
And
Marie was talking about that with
funding goals is like what will be more cool if we exceed it, and so on.
I think it's mean. But I'm in a Kickstarter right now where they're like the 8th highest funded Kickstarter on, well, it's not Kickstarter, but they're using Pledge Manager or whatever it is, Pledge Box. But they're like if we reach the 5th highest funded thing, we're going to do this cool thing for you guys. And I'm like, oh, that's mean. Like, like that just seems mean to me.
So to
But
be
still, it's
fair,
enticement.
I was sitting on like just below my highest tier, and I was and my highest tier is like I will make videos of myself filling in the form and send it to all the backers so that everybody has an example, right? I was sitting just there and I was like, I posted an update going, someone phone a friend.
Right. No, but the funny thing is when they posted that, like we're the
Yeah.
8th funded, most funded thing. If we get to the 5th, we're gonna do this incredibly amazing thing. I was like, that's mean. That was like 4 or 5 days ago. They're now the 6th most funded thing. Like they are getting there. So it
Yeah.
does create a lot of buzz, and people are like, dude, I know you're into this thing. Have you heard about this Kickstarter? You should check this Kickstarter out. And getting other people, because then they're going to get something by getting their friends, their followers, their whatever to join your thing. So it works.
Even here, like, look, this is the hardback layout, right? It's in color, it's got the image, blah blah blah. Then it's exactly the same page with the paperback, right? And that is so that the backer can draw a comparison and go like, okay, so the paperback is like this, it's a lot plainer, and the hardback is like this, and this is the exact. You see, so that they can draw an accurate comparison when they're deciding which tier to back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then just add your add-ons and your like all of that, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Go look at other people's Kickstarters. Like I leaned very heavily on my friend Guy, who's run very, very successful non-fiction publishing Kickstarters on his Kickstarters. But I looked at a whole bunch of others as well and made sure that I understood what made them successful and how it was laid out, how the information was laid out and everything else. And then like, learn from what other people do, basically.
And to swing us back around to the beginning, hopefully you got this with this journey that we just took here over this last hour. This is a lot of work. You are responsible for everything. You have to think about, I need to get these customers. It's not, I've got this great product, so all I got to do is throw it up on Kickstarter and the customers are going to find me. You cannot think like that. You have to think. And why do we use Kickstarter? And I do want to finish with here because we kind of skipped this. Like, why don't I just do this on Starving Writer Studio? Starving Writer Studio would be fine for everybody who is already a fan of mine. But if I'm going to be advertising on Instagram and Facebook and going out there and trying to get other people, the crazy thing about Kickstarter is, even though it states very clearly, you're not guaranteed to get anything if you Kickstart anything. There's still some level of perceived safety because they're on Kickstarter. They're not. They literally, and it doesn't happen anymore as much, but in the beginning of Kickstarter, there were people that just ran scams on Kickstarter and they would raise a couple $100,000 and then just go. That doesn't really happen anymore. At least I haven't heard it anymore, but there is still something about getting those people who don't know you to do that. So even though it costs 10%, because it costs 5% for Kickstarter, 5% of your credit cards, you're going to do the 5% on the credit cards anyway, and it's a little less than that, but it's around 10%.
Yeah.
It's still having the professionalism of being on Kickstarter just gives that comfortability to your audiences.
Also, like I say, like if you get your first 48 hours funding, and if you can get on that Projects We Love Kickstarter, and part of that, like we're a first timer, right? We've got no other projects to our name, and this is it, okay? Kickstarter doesn't know me or Drake from a bar of soap. We have no communication with anybody in Kickstarter whatsoever, like nothing, nada. We are raw, new to the platform.
Yeah, when they sent us down the Projects We Love, like that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Drake was in our chat going like, "Did you see? You've got Projects You Love," because he got it during the American Day when I was asleep, and I was like,
right,
I was like, "Oh my God, we've got Projects We Love."
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, like I say, like we they don't know us or anything. So it is perfectly possible for a first-time Kickstarter to get onto projects we love. It is 100% possible to get that 48-hour backing. To all of that stuff is possible. But it takes an enormous investment, not in money, but in time. Okay. I lived and breathed that Kickstarter for the month before and the month during. I posted on Instagram every freaking 2 days. It was, even when they're not ads, I was posting. I
That's
posted
why
on
I
my
said you
YouTube
really
channel.
should think about a year.
Yeah.
There's so much to think about. There's so much just planning and okay, I need this stuff and what about these assets and what really, and I know that's like we've never actually given it a year, but like you should think in that year term. I'm here because that's really like we're going to do some small Kickstarters between now and then, but really the Kickstarter that I'm planning for right now is the Kickstarter that's going to launch in June. Like
Yeah.
that's what I've been working on. That's what, all these other little things are small little things, but the big one for me is in June and everything I'm working on is going toward that.
Yeah. So I mean, I got it done fairly fast, but I'm also like I have time that I can invest, and I do earn an actual, fairly, a professional salary, so I can spend some money each month on it. So that is advantages that you don't necessarily have. So think about how much time your life allows and plan for it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was creating assets at like 6 a.m. when I woke up. If
Mm-hmm.
you pre-do those assets and you have the assets ready to go for your advertising, you don't have to do that, stuff like that.
Right.
But it takes an enormous amount of time, but it is
Mm-hmm.
100% possible to achieve very, very big success
Yeah.
on Kickstarter.
Yeah. And I mean, the mantra of the day should be planning. And no
Plan,
one,
plan,
I think that's the number one reason why people fail at Kickstarters. They just don't plan it
yeah.
out. They're just like, I've got a great thing. Let me throw it up on the thing. That's not how this works. I mean,
Mhm.
one of the most tragic things was the actor that's Worf, Michael Dorn. I think that's his name. So he did, I mean, he's Worf on Star Trek.
Mm.
Early on in that, he was like, I have this great thing. I'll just throw it on the thing. And the Kickstarter wasn't successful.
Yeah.
His absolutely should have been, but he didn't plan, he didn't set it up, and or at least that's what I think. I wasn't a privy to it, I wasn't part of it. I was, new to Kickstarter and just looking at things and I'm learning and I'm watching other people, but they ended up pulling the Kickstarter. But I really do think that looking back on it, that they didn't spend enough time that they because he's Worf from Star Trek. He should have like if he had just spent a little bit more time on it, I bet you he would have been massively successful on it. But, just something to think about.
If
It's
you
all
have
about that planning.
that big a platform, you genuinely should be able to successfully kickstart.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, then it does. Like to me, I think it's probably a lack of planning. Like,
Yeah. One of my
but yeah,
favorite games, is Dark Tower, and they just did an expansion and they funded in like 4 hours, and their funding goal was $400,000. And
yeah,
yet they funded in 4 hours or six
yeah.
hours or whatever it was.
I mean,
So,
that's obviously the goal you want to walk towards, but but also, and here I
oh,
just
but
want to
they're
issue one. Oh yeah, I want to issue one caveat about setting your funding goals. Okay, especially your fully funded goal. Don't set it low just to make it.
mhm,
Still, you have to set a realistic and reasonable funding goal so that your backers have faith that you know what you're doing. Because if your
mhm.
funding goal is like stupid low, it's like $600 or whatever, they're like, well, you have no idea what goes
Or
into
a
the
dollar.
effort of making, you don't understand what goes into making a thing like this work. Because if you did, you would know that you need more money than this. Because everybody
Right.
else in your niche wants more money than that. So don't. So basically,
Yes.
like, look at what other people are saying they need in your niche and try to be in that same ballpark.
Hmm. I think we covered everything.
I think that's a great note on which to end this episode. We will see you soon for another one.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. This is Marie Mullaney, your co-host on this literary adventure. Our goal is to provide you with valuable insights and discussions on writing. If you believe in our mission, please like and subscribe our podcast. Sharing our episodes with your community
not only helps us grow, but also contributes to a richer, more diverse conversation about storytelling. We appreciate your support. For a deeper understanding of the topics we've discussed, head over to Just in Time Worlds on YouTube. It is a treasure trove where fantasy meets history and science. Every Tuesday, you'll find new videos that delve into the intricacies of world building, drawing from our rich real-world history. Whether you're a writer, a role player, or just a fantasy enthusiast, Just in Time Worlds offers unique insights that will enrich your perspective. Check it out and join the journey of crafting incredible worlds.
If you are ready to take your writing to the next level and work with a group of highly motivated, dedicated writers who are all working to not only improve their writing, but improve your writing, plus you get to work with me on a weekly basis, then I'll encourage you to check out writersroom.us. This is a website that I have created that I really wish I had 30 years ago. It's everything a writer needs to become a better writer. Not only do we do weekly critique sessions, both from other members as well as me, we have daily writing sessions, I do monthly classes, Q&As, we have activities, I do all sorts of learning exercises, such as I do a quarterly writing prompt contest, and just tons and tons and tons of things. So if you're ready to get serious about your writing and you want to actually finish that novel and have a chance of it being published, then I encourage you to head on over to the Writer's Room and join me there. And as a special promotion for listeners of Releasing Your Inner Dragon, I'll go one step more. If you would like to get 50% off for 3 months, reach out to me. There's a million ways you can do that. You can do it through starvingwriterstudio.com, drakeu.com, any of my social medias such as LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, whatever. Reach out to me, say that you would like to check out the Writer's Room for 50% off, and I will send you a link that will allow you to do just that. So hopefully you're ready to start getting serious about writing, and I'll see you in the Writer's Room.